Howdy.
We're back again. So this is now the day a year since we left, August 11th.
Mm-hmm.
And we're talking about the weekend that this all transpired.
Let me take it from here, sweetheart. It's a rough one.
It is a crazy week.
Mm-hmm.
It's a crazy week.
Okay, where we left you was he had just told me about the text message that he got from
The leader.
the leader. And I was shaking uncontrollably, afraid. He wrote his therapist.
I wrote her the message. I wrote her just what the communication that happened.
Mm-hmm.
And we were on vacation at this point. This was Thursday. We were in the hotel room, and I sent her the message, and she responded pretty quickly. And you probably remember more of what she said, but she was just like, "This is not okay."
She said it's very concerning. Obviously, it's very concerning. And she realized that I think she recognized how it was escalating, how there was an escalation in
everything that was being
everything that was going on. And so pretty much the whole time we were in Nashville, we were just like talking about it and like, what are we going to do?
I remember because we went on a Thursday because we had changed our plans. I think we said that earlier. We changed our plans and we were going from Thursday to Sunday because of the conversation that I had had with him to be back at church on Sunday. And during the time in Nashville, we really realized we're done. We are not going to be members. But what?
Yeah. You realized this.
I realized that, but that was a big deal for me because
you needed to realize it.
As you remember, like this almost like meant it was like, if I'm not a part of this church, then I can't be saved. Like there is no salvation in loving Jesus outside of this group of people, because that's, even though that has never explicitly been said, that's how how things have been treated. And so, but the Lord really prepared me for this through the things that we've shared, of knowing that my salvation is in Him, knowing that it's not about a man, it's about God, it's about Jesus. And so, but it was still a big deal because ultimately I didn't want to just be like, see ya, we're gone, whatever. Like I wanted to do it the right way, but what is the right way whenever somebody is doing this? There is no right way.
And this is what I was telling him. I was like, I understand that you want to do it the right way, but there is no way to do it the right way. But I was knowing like the kind of support that he needed was just me to be there and not push him past the point that he could be pushed. So I was just like there speaking the truth to him, speaking like, this isn't okay. And I remember playing several times on that trip, like the song Turn, Turn, Turn by the Birds, to kind of help him like accept like this season, like this is a season where, it's basically Turn, Turn, Turn is like about Ecclesiastes, where it talks about like there's a time to die and there's a time to be born, and there's a time to let go and there's a time to embrace, and this is a time to let go. And it's kind of like I was just trying to help him like be there for him and not push him past the point that he was actually able to understand and like be in his brain, but also still like incredibly impress upon him the urgency and how this is just so not okay. And he already knew it wasn't okay, obviously, but like he had to get to the place.
Because see, I knew what happened is that Thursday when we talked about it, I knew this was the end. I knew that we were going to be leaving. And we basically, that whole trip, we were processing that, and we were grieving the relationships that we had in there, because we knew that if we left, we would not be able to talk to anybody in there, which we can't. Nobody in there will talk to us. So we have reached out. It's definitely not from lack of trying, but it's like they won't talk to us.
Well, they're not allowed to. Like exactly. I keep saying, they're not allowed to talk.
But I'm more speaking even to, like, you know, either the leaders or certain family members in there and stuff who
Well, I'm talking about the innocent ones.
Yes.
They're not allowed.
So the innocent ones are not allowed. And some, you know, anyway,
they're not allowed to.
We knew that we wouldn't have those kind of relationships anymore.
So we're just like, we're in the mall and we're crying. We're in Olive Garden and we're crying.
It was just like this pit in your stomach, this like tightness.
It was so heavy. We're just mourning. And the time comes where it's time to go back. And I was kind of hoping like he would just be like, well, we're not going back for Sunday service, because I was trying to get him to realize like they do not deserve any respect, because they have lost the respect. Like, but he kept feeling number one, you were afraid still.
Right.
You felt like you were going to be hurt if you didn't get back in time. And so,
which, funny thing.
Yeah, we're going to tell you that story. If you didn't get back in time, you felt like you were going to be hurt.
Right.
And so,
I just wanted
we had to leave like when?
We left really early Sunday morning.
Because it takes 6 hours.
Yeah. Plus it's an hour like change. So it really was like 7 hours.
Yeah.
So it was a long time. So we had to leave early Sunday morning.
We stopped at the Buc-ee's and he about could not handle it because the Buc-ee's was so busy.
It took us an hour
to get out of the Buc-ee's. Yeah. Because I had to go to the bathroom. And he couldn't handle it. He was freaking out because that's how afraid he was of them. You were terrified of them.
And the thing about it is, I'm going to skip ahead for a second and we'll come back to it, because I know them. I knew the leader so well. Mm-hmm. And guess what? So like we left in plenty of time. We were actually going to get there at like 5 whenever the service was at 6, or maybe even before that. But because of the traffic and everything, we got there at like 5:50, 5:55, like right before church started. So what is the first thing the leader says to me after church that night? He says, you know, next time it would be better, you should plan better and get here like well before the service, not just show up right whenever service is starting. Like, I knew that he was going to say something like that. Yeah. And I knew that I was going to get in trouble if we weren't there ahead of time.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, yeah, like, it's just crazy. Like, that is the point. That is like a thing. Like, why is that your first thing that you say to me? And anyway, that's just
all a matter of control. It's all a matter of
he wanted me back. He wanted me to
shame, blame, cycle, blah blah blah.
But we did make it back for that church service, and
yeah. So you walk in. And again, it's like 5 minutes before, which I didn't mind because I'm like, we're blowing this popsicle stand.
Yeah.
So who wants to talk to anybody in there? Because there was just like this thick atmosphere. The atmosphere was thick. Mm-hmm. And you walk in and you could hear a pin drop.
It's like everybody knew something was going on.
Something. Either they knew what was going on or they knew other people were on edge. So it was kind of like a collective on edge. Often these type of abusers will I believe there could have been some preparation to kind of like ease people into like seeing us in a negative way already. Like, cause when you walk in, you were kind of like looked at kind of weird, or like kind of like this, kind of like that. So I believe that
and it would have been like subliminal. It would have been like not direct, but
yeah. I know that the Thursday that we started the trip, that there was a Slack that started talking about how if you miss on Sundays, you're not honoring God, and stuff like that. So that could have also been kind of a primer of like priming the people to automatically see us as like sinning. We were sinning because we went on a trip. And I can laugh about it, but it's not funny. And so you walk in, and I know it's going to be a doozy. I just know. I don't know what you're thinking, because you're still thinking like somehow is.
Yeah, I was thinking.
Why are we walking into torture training?
All I was thinking was getting to the conversation afterwards, which I'll talk about.
You were just thinking like I got something to say. Instead of just saying it right then, you're going to say it after. Listen, I was like not wanting to go. I was literally like pleading with him. I was like, we don't have to. I was like, we really don't have to go. But
we have it now.
We have it. So we have done it. So the message starts, and it's kind of just like
what's the first thing
it's a finagling of Genesis to explain how you gotta have permission to go on trips.
He basically was saying that you have to get permission and talk to your pastors about everything, even going on vacation. He even said in there, like, if somebody just comes up to him and says, hey, we're taking this vacation, versus asking him about it. And I'm like, what? Like, but he got it from Genesis too. Like,
yeah, something with Genesis. He loves the Genesis. Okay.
And it was just like,
yeah.
There's not even, yeah.
Yeah.
So, but the first thing he said before he even started the message was shock treatment.
Oh, yeah. Shock treatment. First two words. Shock treatment.
That was his first two words.
Yeah. So we knew we were in for it. I mean, we
were holding hands the whole time.
I am like and we would do that actually a lot, because it was so bad in there.
And we'd squeeze each other's hands.
I would just like squeeze his hand when he was talking about something bad or anything. But in this particular message, I mean, we are just, our hands
we're holding hands
are like fused
really tight. Because we knew what was happening.
We knew what was about to unfold. And I felt every letter, every syllable, every phrase. I felt it in my very innermost being. I cannot explain that in any other way, but all the words were carefully chosen and carefully constructed. We have some phrases.
So he talked the whole message. So let's set this up a little bit too, because this is a congregation of 25, 27 people.
Yeah.
So I would say about 10 of them are 10, 12 years and younger. So there's probably 6, 7 couples, including the pastors' families. And we're the only couple that is married and doesn't have kids right now. So in that church. So the entire message is about having kids and having to have kids.
Well, the first part is you got to have permission.
You got to have permission. Vacation. Yeah.
Second part is you got to have kids.
You got to have kids. So these are some of the things that were said in the church. We can talk about them. He was talking about the topic of having kids. He's like, it's a primary subject between God, husband, and wife that only concludes in baby. No other choice, no other answer.
Yeah.
So he's basically doubling down on what he said in the text message to me from several days before, and saying you have to have a baby. No matter what.
He's saying there's no other choice. No other choice but to have a baby. So that's just of that.
And then he says, the wife belongs to the husband.
Yeah, pretty critical there.
He said, husband needs children, period, end of discussion.
Yeah.
So basically, for you to get the full context of this, other than just these phrases, because he number one, is basically speaking just to us in front of the whole church, and everybody knows it. Because everybody knew we're the only ones without kids. They knew generally the situation that we're in and stuff. And he is basically saying, you have to do that. He's calling us out in front of everybody. And he would do this a lot, all the time, and they would always blame it. They would always say, no, he's just talking in general to everybody.
Or they would say the thing that with Paul would call people out.
Yeah.
They would use that as an excuse too.
Well, one of the head pastors afterwards said to me, you would really not like Paul, because he called people out all the time. To which I would have said, you must not like Paul either, because he was a tent maker and he actually worked. because these people didn't work.
You always come up with the comebacks
later
after
on.
the fact. So we
anyway, another thing that he said, this one is the one that gets me. Your entire spiritual future of warfare and growth and representing God, standing before lost men as a saved man requires children.
Yeah. I would say that with what you're saying specifically, think about what this does in our relationship dynamic. And because that is the whole reason why it is being spoken of in this particular manner. What is the dynamic? In order for me to be a good wife, because this is what they have full knowledge of, what do I care about? I care about Jonathan. What are they going to use against me? Jonathan. Who is the person that I love the most in the world? Jonathan. So they're saying to me, if you love Jonathan, you will do this for him. If you do not do this for him, his entire spiritual walk, kaputs. Kaputzi. His entire life, not worth, meaningless. That is the weight of what was done. And what is Jonathan hearing? If Joy doesn't do this for you, she doesn't love you.
Yep.
That's the weight. And that is, I believe, they knew that weight.
I believe they knew that too.
I believe they knew what they were doing.
And he did it so well that I remember afterwards.
Masterfully.
You turned to me and you were like, am I this way?
Am I this horrible person? Because I was just making sure. I was making sure with Jonathan. I'm like, listen, I love you. And if I'm a bad person, let me know. Let me know I'm a bad person but he said, Joy, get in the car and go to the parking lot.
A parking lot of a grocery store right next door.
Yeah. And I said, okay. And I left. And I didn't know if I was going to see him again because he had to break such a bound.
Hardest thing I've done in a long time.
He had to do the hardest thing ever. And I was like, am I going to see him again? Are they going to win? Are they going to win? That's what I was thinking.
Honestly, it made it, even after that message, it was still hard to make this decision. But when I walked up to the front and I spoke to him, and the first thing out of his mouth was how I wasn't 30 minutes or an hour early, that to me clicked. And I was like, this is who he is. He is a control person. Because I don't know if we talked about this in a video before. I think we did. We go back to whenever I lost my full-time job. The first thing he said to me was I had to make money for the church. It's like he's got to get in there right away with these control things. So then what did I say? I didn't say we're leaving. I didn't say you're crazy, we're getting out of here. I said, look, the conversation that we started having before our vacation, that topic, we're not discussing. It's off limits. I'm setting a boundary. We will not talk about that. And he got the other head pastor to come and talk to me too. So my heart is racing at this point. And I can't have that happen because I just had open heart surgery. And I cannot have my heart racing over going faster than 120 beats a minute. But it was going 150, whatever, because I was just so nervous. But I told him that, we weren't doing that. And then they were saying that I couldn't set boundaries like that I had to talk to them about everything. But the one thing that I thought was interesting was they have always and forever said they pastor by permission. Is that
That's
it?
the part.
Yeah. They've always said they pastor by permission. They've made it well known to everybody in the church that if you want to leave, it's fine because you're giving them permission, and it's a permission thing. So I brought that up to them. I said, look, you've always said it's pastor by permission, and I'm not giving you that permission for that in this area. And this is what the leader said to me. He said, you can't do that. You already gave us permission. You can't change that now.
So now you can't choose to remove.
That's not permission. That's control.
No,
that is complete control. He literally was telling me, we have control over you because you gave us permission years ago.
You were literally born into this environment.
It's not like I really had a choice.
So very few choices were offered to you. Yeah.
So that whole thing was like completely, yes, when I got saved and I chose to join or be a part of the church, it wasn't even really like, oh, I'm joining the church now. It's just like, okay, I'm back. I'm part of the church. But he said I couldn't change it. So he basically lied, or they've been lying the entire time, which is really the case.
Ding, 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 ding.
Because it's never about pastoring by permission.
No.
For them to say, no, you can't change that means it's not permission.
No.
So then I don't remember exactly what all was said after that, but the lead pastor, he didn't stay that long, and he went and one of the pastors basically just said, well, you're not following God and following the pastors or whatnot. So you can't, if you're not with me on that, then you can't be a deacon. And so he stripped me of being a deacon. And then I just said, okay. And I walked out.
That is so horrible for them to do that.
But
like, obviously you weren't going to stay, so you weren't going to be a deacon. And a deacon.
It didn't matter at that point.
But that was so purposefully to shame you and to get you to feel so bad.
But at that point, I knew that was if the Lord calls me to be a deacon somewhere else or whatnot, that's a totally different thing. But I'm not. That is not a thing there, and I knew that was done at that point anyway. So that wasn't for me personally. I know what their intent was.
Because something we didn't really talk about, but on that Wednesday, that horrible Wednesday that had the repeated abuse Wednesday, August 7th, 2024, you were on like probationary.
Pretty much.
Because that night, normally like you help with the movie, with the streaming.
The music,
and the music, and you didn't do that night.
They didn't want me to do it.
They didn't want you to do that.
Remember, I was only like 7% saved.
You're only 70% saved.
I needed to be 70%.
Oh,
I was only
7%. Okay, that's why.
So
they had already kind of put him on a probationary.
But the thing that I thought I find interesting is that, and they also would talk about having boundaries. But when all I did was set one boundary and it was over. Mm-hmm. Because I was basically saying, you don't have control over me in this area of my life anymore. And they didn't like that. They said, no, they're basically like, no, we have to have complete control. That's really what they wanted.
Well, they have to have complete control in order for the whole thing to work.
Right. And so because I was taking that away,
their livelihood depends on it.
Right.
Yeah.
And so they're thinking maybe if they don't have this area, then maybe they don't have that area or this area.
Mm-hmm. And that's right.
Yeah.
They don't.
And then I walked out.
Yeah.
And we've never been back.
And I saw him. I was parked. And I saw him. And I was so relieved. And I drove to him. And I was like, are you okay? What's going on? Are you okay? Are you okay? And he's like, drive the car.
Go home.
Drive the car. We're going to go home. Drive the car. And then we got home. And I was like sobbing on the kitchen floor.
Because of the message you just heard.
Because it was because of the message. The message did a number on my mental health. For sure. And it changed, it changed how I felt about myself. Am I a bad person? Am I doing this bad thing? I don't care for Jonathan. I'm just like, I'm a bad person. Like that is, but also it wasn't just that. It was also just like, I was angry that I had to hear it because I already knew it was going to be horrible. So I was angry that I had to go through that again. I mean, I was going through emotions, man. And it was the finale of the Olympics. And we saw, Tom Cruise come in. And that was actually kind of fun to see. And then, that was
it was like rough, though. The next few days especially were just
man, we
rough.
Couldn't eat. We could barely, move. It was bad. And then you still didn't want to talk to people that are out here yet. So it was like 2 weeks.
But it was 2 weeks, and there's a lot even that happened in those 2 weeks, and there's a lot that's still happening. There's just a lot. And at some point, too, we're going to probably sit down with some people that have left and be able to introduce y'all. You may have seen, if you've watched you should go watch our Panthers Fan Fest video.
You can
see my sister and brother-in-law. But we got out. We left.
We escaped.
And we hope that you can, too.
You can.
We know you can. We hope that you do.
The thing that I leave with you or anyone who's in this particular situation or a similar situation, an abusive relationship or an abusive church or an abusive organization, it's going to, if you've developed relationships with your abuser, you're going to have like an addiction. You're going to have a trauma bond with your abuser. And so it's going to feel really, really bad because it felt really, really bad for him to do what he did and for us to do what we did, because it feels like you're going against someone that you love or someone that you care about or an idea that you think is true, that you've believed your whole life. And there's going to be manipulative tactics used where you're going to feel bad. You're going to feel like, how could I even think that? And that's going to be intentional so that you stay. But you have to know that what's happened to you isn't okay, and it is nowhere supported in Scripture.
Right.
It's nowhere supported. God is not abusive.
Nope.
So anytime people use God to support abuse, highly suspect.
I think that's a really important point to make, because in no way are we talking about Christianity or Jesus or God as that's the problem. That was actually, Jesus was there to help us get out. It was the people who were using the Bible, Scripture, in a way for their gain. That's what's so horrible about it, is that they're using something so important, so real, so good to grow themselves and to abuse and use other people. And that's what's like, because now we have met people and been a part of congregations that love Jesus, love the Lord, and are not this way. And being able to see just something that's actually good and not being used to abuse and use people. So like, it's something so critical in life, your eternity, your salvation, who you are, that is held over you to, as like, they could be taken away at any time. It could be questioned at any time if you're not following what is being told by the abuser. And that's like really bad.
It's abusive.
It is. It's just like, you take things that are so important and you use them for your own gain.
And that's where I think, like, this is where I say that the people in there that are not perpetuating the abuse, they love God like so much that they would be willing to endure like kind of uncomfortable things, kind of weird things. They're like, this is kind of weird, but I love God and I want to do what God wants me to do. And so they love God like so much. Like I know that's kind of a unique perspective, but the people in there like love God so much. And just think about the potential of these individuals who love God so much and what they can do outside of serving only self-serving leaders.
Yeah.
And
something I find interesting, which is that it's been said by people, by leaders in there, that things are different, that it's changed, that it's no longer about serving a man. But my question is, why did it have to change? Why was it ever about that? Why did it have to be different? Mm-hmm. And that's something that I think people need to realize, like, why is that even a thing? And maybe it's because we're bringing to light some of the stuff that people are having to change to.
Well, haters gonna hate. So the cycles will return. Maybe it won't look exactly the same, but the cycle will return. History will repeat itself. But that is our story, and
that is the conclusion of the 18 days.
This is how we left. And we are free. We are happy that we are free. We are sad. It is a mixture of happy and sad, because there is not a day that goes by that I don't think of the people in there.
Mm-hmm.
And I have not gone anywhere, and will always be here for you. And I hold awareness for those that are in there, and also others that are, this is not the only place. The place that we came from is not the only place that has these dynamics. Maybe they're not as extreme. Hopefully they are not, because these are very extreme, but some are as extreme as what we've described. This is not an isolated event. This goes on in the name of God. And I often think how upset God would be to like see his like name strewn through the mud, and in this manner of saying, you know, the way that people learn about God is this mean, like controlling, abusive God, instead of who he really is, which is a just, loving God. And God is not mocked. Like, it is very serious. God doesn't wink at this. God doesn't wink at this. What goes on. So
there's a lot. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot we're going to continue posting about just our lives and things that go on, but there's a lot that we've learned through this. There's a lot that we know. I know you know more of like the terms of things that we want to just make people aware of, and just our healing process, and then, you know, also what other people have gone through that have been through the same place or similar situations. And we really want to bring awareness to it so that it can stop, you know, as much as if we can help one person out of it, if we can help 2 people out of it, that would be huge. We want to help as many as we can, but, you know, getting this word out to people, you know, we ask that you subscribe, share these videos to people, because we want it to get the word to get out so that people can be aware of these things, so that they know that there is a way out. And, you know, we'll keep sharing, because it didn't just end there when we left. It's been a year now since we've left, and there's been a whole healing process. We're still healing. We're still, you know, recovering from all of that. And it's probably going to be a lifelong journey, but hopefully now we can help other people.
I don't really believe the Lord had us go through this for a reason, but I think he's going to work it all together.
He works it all together for good. Yep. So.
Yep.
Well, that's all for today. Thank you for listening and coming with us through this whole time, and we'll talk to you next time.
See you.